boys, girls, and squirrels. My name is Modstab. Welcome back to Here's the Storm. Now, there's a couple things that you guys might see right off the bat that are bringing up questions. One, why are you playing an AI match? Two, Deathwing's on PTR, so let's be playing on PTR, right? Of course I'm playing on PTR. I gotta play, man. We're gonna redo that intro. Cringe intro done. 3, 2. Hey there, boys, girls, and squirrels. My name is Modstab. Welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. Now, there's a couple questions you probably ask yourself right off the gate. Is today the day when you play after a week of public test realm being out, Deathwing? To answer your question, to that first one, yes. I figured it was about time after everybody had done all their stuff with Deathwing. I kind of wanted to get a little bit of playtime with him before I made a video. Now, secondly, you probably ask yourself, why are you playing against AI and not regular players? Well, before this match, I had waited in a queue time for roughly half an hour, okay? I don't want to wait half an hour just to show off Deathwing in a real player versus player scenario. I think you can show off some of his build, some of his mechanics, and some of his abilities really well, even against AI. So we have the difficulty of the AI turned all the way up as far as they can go. Although it's not going to be that good or that great of a comparison, we still are going to be able to show off some of his abilities. So I look forward to bringing you guys on that journey, and let's go ahead and explore some glorious Deathwing ourselves. Also, look at that animation when you click the ready button. Everything shakes and quivers. It's so cool. All right, friends and family, today we find ourselves on the Dragonshire map. How befitting to find ourselves on a dragon map as the biggest, baddest boy of them all. Also, look at this, Okay. We're gonna do it this way. I forgot what button it is. There we go. Oh. Hello, wife. Alright, we're gonna do his dance, okay? Look at it. Just a cute. It's kind of like doggy. He looks like a dog. I think of a dog. And you got his taunt. And he roars. His taunt is a roar. No surprise there. So anyways, his first ability, he has two forms, by the way. You have Molten Flame. This ability is consistent no matter what form he has. You have in your melee form, which is called the Destroyer form. You have Incinerate, which is the area of effect around you. And then you have Onslaught, which is a dash. I'll go ahead and show those off for you guys right now. So you have your Incinerate, right? It has a wind-up time. Your dash has a wind-up time. But that's how those abilities both work. And this is going to be one of Deathwing's, in my opinion, one of his best stances, for lack of a better term, for damage. Now, at level 1, we are going to go Dragon Soul because this buffs the heal for Incinerate, and it increases the damage and heal for our comparable ability in Worldbreaker form. Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and swap over to Worldbreaker form. We're down to half health, and we'll explain why that looks a little different here. But the abilities that get changed is you get Lava Burst. It's still kind of that AoE option, but it is a ranged ability, and it does persist for quite some time. So this is going to help you clear waves really well. So what I've been experimenting with is Destroyer form. As his namesake sounds, you're really good at wrecking things, okay? You're good at destroying things. His Worldbreaker form tends to be really, really good for minion waves, as you can just get that guy down, and you can hit your Q, and that wave is done. And that wave is absolutely done. Pop up here, get the health club, just live the dream. His third ability is called Earth Shatterer in his Worldbreaker form. Now this is a little bit unique, as it is a kind of a, it's a skill shot, but once again, like everything else for Deathwing, it has a wind-up time. So I think what you're going to do is you're going to find a lot of Deathwings being zone-based characters. Now, if you get this one out, after that wind-up time, if you hit somebody with that ability, they are going to be stunned. Alright, keeping it simple. And that's how all the Deathwing abilities work. You're going to want to probably stay in my opinion, you're going to want to stay Worldbreaker early game and probably Destroyer as the game goes on, as you're going to want to switch to doing a little bit more team fight and area of effect damage, and you're probably going to end up functioning essentially as a tank, especially with that increased armor. Alright, or at least a brawler. I would probably consider him more of a brawler. We're going to clear this out, and that does bring us to level 4. We are going to go Heat Wave. After you hit an enemy hero with Incinerate, he does a area of effect damage, kind of like a Bronzebeard's Rage is a good way to think of this. And your Worldbreaker your lava burst is going to be increased damage-wise as well. So one will be in an immediate burst of damage, one will be a sustained damage. Now, what we're going to do here is we are going to hang out for a minute. I do want to show off Dragonflight, but I don't think it's quite the time as we are at full health. We're going to cut off this Anduin because he's Valir, I guess, and Anduin, as they are bots. We're going to get this off at an angle, so you can see that at point blank range, it actually doesn't do a bad job of stunning things. All right, so you can see here, I'm not going to worry because I kind of want to brawl a little bit. We're going to use his passive mount ability. As you can see, we lost 2 tiers of the armor. Okay, we're going to drop down. We're going to drop down in just a second. We lost 2 tiers of the armor. I actually don't need to. 2 tiers of the armor, which means we reduced the damage we were taking by 20% instead of 40. Now, you have the option, once you're flying, to drop in Destroyer form or drop into World Breaker form. We're going to drop into the Destroyer form once we get an enemy. All right. Get a little vision. All right. Now, the catch with that is you have to drop in an area where you have vision. So we're going to go ahead and incinerate. We are hitting heroes, so we are going to do some pretty considerable damage per second. Alrighty. We were able to stall that one out. Now, what we're going to try to do here is zone this guy back. So you can see that all those yellow tiers are back up to their top. And as we fall below 25% health, we're going to lose one of those stacks of 10 armor, which is going to increase the damage we take by 10%. So think of it in the sense of, to keep me playing safer, I tend to think of armor in the sense of, you take a normal damage, and as soon as those armor stacks fall off, you're increasing the damage you're taking. Now that sounds very simple, very face value, but you're thinking, oh, I have 40% reduced damage, I can go in and tank everything. No, let's just keep it at you take normal damage, and every 10% of armor they drop off, you are now taking 10% extra. It's not immunity right out of the gate. It's the fact that you can't be healed. So in order to play safe, I tend to think of it as losing stacks rather than having stacks to begin with. Alrighty, that does bring us to level 7. Now, I do tend to do Firestorm here. Now, you can do Skyfall. I think this is a really fun ability, and it's also a way to get you some heal. I do like Firestorm as it does allow you to drop down, do a lot of damage. But if you did Skyfall, you get this third ability here, which allows you to drop in some Skyfall. Now, what this does is this reduces the cooldown of your abilities in your times to drop. So we're going to go ahead and drop in Destroyer form here. We're going to be a nuisance. We're going to go after the, I think that's Zul'jin, because he's staying. Incinerate. We're going to dash towards him. All right. And generally speaking, you only want to use your Q if you're in a position where you can actually take somebody out. Now, you can see we take a pretty hefty amount of damage, so you are absolutely not immune by any means as a Deathwing. Okay, you take a lot of damage and you're not able to be healed, so you're going to want to work on kind of picking your fights. Now, as you can see, we are regenerating health, but we are not getting our armor stacks back, as the only way to get armor stacks back is in Dragonflight. All right, and we do have his ultimate ability. He does start with that, but it has a very, very long cooldown, like 250 seconds right out of the gate. So you don't want to use it. You can't use it right out of the gate. It's very close to being the same level as when you get most regular ults. We're going to go ahead and use his ult here, just to show it off. It's called Cataclysm, and all essentially you do is you straight line basically the length of your whole screen, and it's going to drop basically a small version of your World Breaker lava burst, and it's going to stay there and persist for a minute. And it's going to be really, really good for pushing fights under turrets, under towers. All right, and we are really low on health and we have low armor, so we're not going to do very good here. Now, I do tend to favor, okay, we're just going to drop this. I do tend to favor his Burn Beneath My Shadow, as it allows you to reset your Cataclysm in these underneath the keeps and forts fights, as when those get taken, it's an instant reset. But in today's game, we don't have a lot of people where we're going to be able to dive on, especially being a bot. So we're going to go with Bellowing Roar. With this one, after 1 second, once again, another wind up, you unleash a roar, dealing damage and fearing nearby heroes. We're going to go ahead and pop up, get our Dragonflight so we can get our armor back. And we're going to go ahead and split push kind of in off lane in this instance. All right, and I don't think we're going to be able to make it to 20 in this one. We're going to see if we can. I'm going to try to brawl, do my best. We're going to drop in World Breaker so that we can get some stuns. Okay, or we're not. I was hoping we were going to get some stuns to zone people off, but we didn't quite land them. But it's okay because we're going to be able to take this down. We are going to Cataclysm even though we don't get the damage or the reset on the tower there, as we're going to be able to zone away some of their retreats. All right, and then we're going to queue into their doorway because either they take the damage and die, or they stay out and die. So that's going to be what your focus is going to be on a Deathwing pretty consistently. Excuse me. You're going to want to zone people from retreats, as he has a lot of amazing damage abilities to really force people into bad situations. Now, I noticed that you tend to fight below 7 armor stacks pretty consistently. So what is it? At level 4, you can go with the Dragon's Ire. Well, Deathwing has 3 or fewer armor plates. His damage is increased by 30%. That's a flat 30%, basically all the time. You can really kind of play around with that. So that might be a better option if you tend to find yourself playing from a lower health point pretty consistently. We're going to go ahead and just queue, because they're bots, so they're not going to do a great job of jumping out of that. All right, now we could be kind of a nuisance. We're going to go over here in our World Breaker form because it does give us some range. We're going to go ahead and pop this guy. Just get some harass. And then we're going to go ahead and just drop our Q. You can see we do a pretty considerable amount of siege damage when we're doing that stuff. Now, we're not quite able to take it at this level, so you do have to be very careful. In a normal match, you wouldn't be able to do that. But you are kind of a small version of Sergeant Hammer with your Q, being a pretty considerable ability for damaging that stuff. Now, I tend to go Ruination here. Now, the bite from Onslaught now slows for 60%, or in World Breaker form, Earth Shatter's cooldown is 6 seconds and its energy cost reduced. So, for instance, we could pop in here. Now, they are zoned and they cannot leave this area. All right, we can pop into our Destroyer form. Now, once again, with everything, it does have a windup, so you have to be very, very careful not to get caught into a position where that windup is going to end up killing you. All right. I'm just going to kind of stay here and be a bruiser. There we go. Now, this is where you get most of your sustain, is you are going to heal when you have your Incinerate active. So this is where you're going to want to, this is where you're going to kind of thrive, is if you're fighting with people who don't do percentage-based damage, but need to be in melee range, as you're going to continue to heal off them. Now, she's going to be able to silence us if she does play as a normal player would. You can see the amount of damage we're able to do here in these team fights is pretty substantial. We're able to stay alive. We're able to really contest. And then now that we're low health and low armor, we're going to go ahead and jump back into our Dragonflight ability. And since we have vision here, we can do some damage. Now, if we hit heroes, it does reduce the time of all of these drop-ins, but we didn't do that because we were silly and we wanted to just show off that you can just spam Q those. So we're going to wait to get some range here. We're going to drop in. We're not going to quite get that one, but we are going to get this boy. All right, we're going to have to jump back out. And then we're going to Incinerate again. So long story short, you're going to be playing a lot around Incinerate or Lava Bursts. Those are going to be your 2 main abilities. Now, if you prefer melee, you can basically stay in your Destroyer form the whole match. If you prefer ranged, you can just about stay in your ranged form the whole time, but not quite as, it's not quite as efficient when it comes to damage dealing as is melee form, especially when it comes to the concept of survivability. Ooh, kicked him away. We're going to go ahead and Cataclysm over this way, just to get back on the other side of the tower. Get to a safe spot. All right. We are going to switch to our World Breaker form after we get this. We're going to go ahead and go with Elementium Plating, as this is going to be one of our survivability options, but it also allows you, for instance, so you can see that we only have 2 armor stacks, right? Now, we do regenerate 12 health per second as it stands, so what we can do, and this is where things get interesting as a Deathwing, in my opinion. All right. We're going to go ahead and just Q. We're going to pick up the globe. Now you can see that we're in the second tier. We still don't have the increased armor plating, okay? You can see that we're kind of losing out there. However, if I pop my Elementium Plating, you can see that we are healing up a little bit. We do have that armor, but once this is done, and here we go, you can see that now we have full stacks of armor. Now, what you can do is you can have health globes. Stay at full health, stay below that 3 armor ratings, pop that Elementium Plating in a fight, and that'll basically guarantee that you stay at about 3 stacks, which is kind of your goal. We're going to go ahead and get a stun off here. Ooh, nice pull. And then you can, with that armor plating, get survivability out of it, or you can decide to bait somebody. Let's say you have full health but no armor, right? they're going to think, oh gosh, this guy doesn't have armor. We're going to do, 20, 30% more damage to him. You pop the Elementium plate at full health. They're not able to get you below that full health, and you're going to regain all those armor stacks, baiting people into fights. So that's going to be one way that maybe you can trick people into an engagement where they think they can win, that they won't be able to win. Now, unfortunately, as we don't have players, it's going to be a lot harder to show off that type of functionality, but it's just kind of brainstorming what you can do as a Deathwing if you just decide to kind of spend a little bit of theory crafting time in doing so. So we're going to go ahead and drop the lava wave here. Now, a normal player would probably start backing out as they would see that, but this is a bot, so what we're going to do is we're going to try to zone them out here. We're just going to keep them from retreating out that way because we want to zone them away. Now, we're going to try to see if we can't get a good little stun here. We're going to switch over to Destroyer form. And this is once again where your damage really takes off. So this is where you're going to want to do most of your brawling in. Now, a great example of this, you can see that I have the 3 health. We're just going to pop Elementium plating just to say that we have it. Now, we're not missing any health, but once that is done, ooh, look at that. You're able to see that we did get our full armor stacks back. Now, we can wind up, get our Q on. If they retreat in a straight line, they are going to take some damage from that Q. Now, you can't quite go over a line, so it's a lot like Varian's Charge where you can't go over terrain with it, which is a little bit of an unfortunate interaction, but you can't win them all. Alright, but it does allow you to kind of dance around this a little bit. Alright, keep healing up, baby. Alright, we'll take him out. Boom. Alrighty. We're going to go ahead and once we get a chance, we're going to mount up. We do have vision over here, so we're going to pop right behind. Actually, we're going to pop in on ETC, and we're probably going to get a couple of these bad boys off. Get them in on the wave. They don't do an amazing amount of damage, but they can harass people. Like, for instance, if they were winning there, we could just drop a few bombs from our Skyfall. Watch them perish. All right, we're going to go ahead and drop in Destroyer form right here. Now, they are able to see that area of effect kind of icon, so they will know when and where you are dropping, but keeping them kind of guessing is going to be a really great option for you to do some great damage. So I just want to take the clear out. I just really don't have clears. All right, now we did hit level 20, so we are going to be able to show you one of my favorite talents in the game. Now we could go Cataclysm. It slows. Well, it also has its duration increased. That's a really decent one. Maybe if you're going for the kind of tower pushing Cataclysm build, that might be an option for you. But I too tend to like Arrival of God. Destroyer Roadbreaker landing damage is increased by 400%, so it's 4 times the amount of damage. But you also get all of your level 7 talents. So Skyfall, Firestorm, Death Drop, you have all of those abilities. So I take Skyfall for the kind of, I guess, stall potential, or the objective stall potential. And then at level 20, we get all of them, including the Firestorm. All right, and that's going to be game. Now, a couple options I do want to outline here for the gloriness of the greatest character in all existence, Deathwing right now. Yeah. MVP, but it's a bot match, so I don't care. I do want to pop over to his abilities here and kind of outline a different build that might work for people looking to stay in your Destroyer form more often, as that is going to be his damage build. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pop into talents. Now, you're still going to want to go with Dragon Soul at level 1, as that's going to be your main source of healing and survivability. Now, if you're going to play a Lava Burst build, you can get the increased damage here, or you can do something like this. While you have 3 or more armor plates, you're going to continue to heal at 0.4% of his max health per second. So you can get your harass, but you can stay back, play more of a mage build. But this is going to increase your survivability so much more that it's not even a contest. At level 4, now you can go with Dragon's Ire. I think that is a better talent, but I really like the brawliness of Heatwave here, as it is going to kind of in those team fight situations. This is going to be a better talent in my opinion, but in the one-on-one situations, Dragon's Ire. So it depends on what kind of composition you're going for, where you could go here, but I don't think Infernus is even worth it at all. I think Dragon's Ire is going to be better for most people. Now at level 7, this is once again, you could start with Firestorm, just get that extra damage, but I do think that the Skyfall talent is going to have more utility to it. So I'd recommend that, and if you're really mad or frustrated that you didn't get Firestorm, you can just go in at level 20 and get the Arrival of God. At level 10, as stated, I do tend to prefer Burn Beneath My Shadow, as it gives you that option to reset and have its Cataclysm's damage increased. But if you have a lot of people that are going to prevent you from diving them or being able to set there and siege, you're going to want to go with Bellowing Roar, as it's a lot of crowd control, especially in team fights where you might be losing or you might get ganked. I think that's going to be a common occurrence when Deathwing comes to the live servers. Now at 13, I went with Ruination because it slows, and I think that's really important utility, especially if you're not going survivability talents up to this point. But I do like Fire and Fury. Basic attacks against rooted, slowed, or stunned enemy heroes deal 30% increased damage and reduce the cooldowns of Deathwing basic abilities by 0.5 seconds. Now, if you have a team, and there are a lot of them out there that can do slows, this is an exceptional ability, and I would recommend this if you're doing a PvP match, as I think there's going to be a lot of synergy for this. At 16, I went with Elementium Plating because of the survivability. Now, if you're really looking to do a lot of damage with your Q, it's dealing 320 damage with Molten Flame, which is your Flame Breath, is going to do extra damage to people over time as long as you have a certain amount of damage you do to them. And it's a pretty substantial amount of damage, so that might be an option for you if you find at level 16 that everybody tends to stay in your Fire Breath, or if you're in a match like, let's say, where they have to focus a singular objective, like Battlefield of Eternity. You can throw this Q out there. You can probably get the conflagration on maybe 1 or 2 people, but it's going to spread damage, so think of it as like a Kael'thas bomb. And then at level 20, Arrival of God is my favorite, as it increases damage for your drop pretty substantially. Put it about 600 or 700 damage if you can get a good drop in. But it also gives you all the other talents for that drop, so that you get a little extra damage here. So this is potentially an extra, 1,500 damage kind of at face value. Now you could go once again with the slow and have its duration increase, which is going to increase its damage. It's going to increase the ability to be able to take down those keeps, so you're going to get resets more often if you go that build. Or you have the Destroyer's Rampage. For the next 6 seconds after landing Destroyer form, Deathwing's damage is increased by 40% and his basic abilities recharge 50% faster. Now, you have Damaging Heroes refreshes the effect, and switching to Worldbreaker form removes the effect. So unless you're going to drop and stay in Destroyer, and this is where I was talking about switching off of there if you're going to stick in Destroyer form consistently, as you're going to really boost up your damage. But in order to stick in Destroyer form and deal the damage that you want to, you're going to sacrifice a lot of survivability talent, so that's something you're going to have to keep in mind. Without further ado, the video's gone on quite long enough. I've rambled, I've talked about some of my theory crafting for Deathwing, but ultimately none of this is going to matter until he comes to the live servers, and we get to test him in really clear-cut PvP matches where you have a lot of people in the same rank and same skill set as you to be able to test him out. But that's my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys have any tricks or tips, or if anything changes with Deathwing, let me know. I'll keep my eyes peeled, and I'd love to hear your guys' feedback in the comment section down below. If you made it this far and you are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, as we'd love to have you part of this community. I'd love to hear your feedback once again. I'd love to hear you guys chatting, and we do have a lot of content on this channel for you to enjoy. If you are subscribed and you haven't hit the bell notification icon now, please do so. Why? Because we upload content every single day, Monday through Friday, and we do live stream Wednesday, currently 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. It'd be awesome to have all you guys in there. Remember, as always, I love you guys, but I'm going to share my filthy little cake hole, and I will see you next time. Toodles!